Jeffrey. Okay. Open it. Oh. All right, here, it's your camcorder. You can go, you can have it. That's fine, you win, bye. Hi, I'm David Pogue, and welcome to the Camcorder episode of It's All Geek to Me. As you can see, when it comes to camcorders, nothing ever goes quite according to plan. Sales of camcorders are plummeting like 10% a year. You can speculate on the reasons why. They're bigger and much more expensive than still cameras are. Still cameras take perfectly good movies these days. And then there's the problem of editing the stuff. It's too much trouble to edit out the boring stuff, fast forward while your friends and relatives are sitting there on the couch getting annoyed. Even though camcorder sales are slowing down, though, amateur video is skyrocketing. Ever hear of something called YouTube.com? It's a website where 100 million people a day are watching other people's amateur video. My job here in this episode is to make your amateur video look a lot better. First, we're gonna go shopping. I'm going to show you all the new kinds of camcorders, the pros and cons of each. Second, I'm gonna show you how to use the darn thing. And finally, I'm going to show you how to edit this stuff and put it up on YouTube or Google Video for your worldwide audience of fans to enjoy. Let's go shopping. Okay, let's play consumer electronics executive. You're looking at the numbers, you're seeing that camcorder sales are slumping year by year. Your research says that the populace is tired of tape. What do? Well, I guess you get desperate. Because nowadays, the trend in camcorders is to eliminate the tapes completely. For example, you couldn't put a tape in this camcorder if you wanted to. It stores all the video on a hard drive inside here. Little tiny hard drive, 20 or 30 gigabytes, kind of like an iPod. The first advantage is you have an endless amount of footage you can shoot before you have to change tapes. 7.5 hours at the top quality. Another advantage is, check it out. When it comes time to play back your scenes, you have a little table of contents of every scene you've shot. There are disadvantages too. One of them is, once the hard drive is filled, then what? You're going to have to transfer that stuff onto your computer. Here's another approach to eliminating the tape. Storing everything on a little memory card. Just exactly the same kind of card that you'd find in a digital camera. In this case, on this $700 version, the advantage here is that it films in high definition. Once again, though, there are some drawbacks. The card doesn't hold very much video. A 1 gigabyte memory card holds only about 20 minutes of video. Now, those camcorders may solve the problems of tapes, like rewinding and fast forwarding, but they don't solve the problem of how you watch the stuff after you've filmed it. That is, having to hook up a wire to your TV. This one does. These are the popular DVD camcorders. They don't take tapes or memory cards. They record on these little baby DVDs. Pops right in here. Each one holds only about 20 minutes. And after you're done recording, before you can use it in a DVD player, you have to finalize it, which means sitting there for 8 or 10 minutes while it sort of shrink wraps the whole thing for playback purposes. Once again, you're giving up some quality. Here, Colin, would you mind? Let's give our color test here. Check it out. Tape camera, DVD camera. Tape camera, DVD camera. So am I saying that the tape camcorder is dead? Absolutely not. In fact, if I were buying a camcorder today, I'd still get a tape camcorder. For one thing, the video quality is much better than any of those other formats. Also, these things have been around for so long, they've been so much more refined. They have eyepiece viewfinders that those other formats don't. And this Sony camcorder, for example, has a really cool feature that I can only show you in a very special place. Come here, I want to show this to you. Come here. Okay, come here. You probably think I'm completely insane, but it's all for good cause. Come here, you guys all have to come in here. I have to show you this. Believe me, you'll understand in a minute. Now, gentlemen, you might wonder why I've asked you here today. Turns out this is the only room in the store that can be made completely black, because what I want to show you is this feature of Sony camcorders right here called Night Shot. Here, let me demonstrate. There we go, complete and total blackness, unless I turn on Night Shot. Suddenly, I can see in the dark. It's using infrared to give me a complete picture. And I can see in complete and total darkness. Shopping for a camcorder is a matter of knowing what to look for, knowing which logos to believe and which not to. Check this out, 800x zoom. Yeah, right, that means you could look at the pores on my pores. Actually, what they're talking about is something called digital zoom. They're just blowing up the picture and the quality degrades as you go. Or how about this? Ooh, 4 megapixel still pictures. Does that mean I can leave my still camera at home? Not really. Camcorders really aren't designed for taking still pictures. You'll be disappointed in the quality, especially compared to a regular still camera. Turns out the optics and the circuitry for capturing good video are totally different than what's required for a good still picture. Of course, this is the very latest, high-definition camcorders. Man, if you have a high-definition TV to play these things on, the picture quality and sharpness will blow you away. This thing costs about $1,200, a considerable savings over the last generation of high-def cameras, like this one. That'll set you back about $60,000. As you can see, this year's camcorders look a lot different from last year's. And guess what? Next year's are gonna look even more different. I know some people who are afraid to buy anything because of obsolescence. What if what I get will be discontinued in 6 months? Well, it will be discontinued in 6 months. The thing is, if you take that thinking to an extreme, you'll never buy anything. Your kids will be growing up, your life will be going by, and you won't film anything at all. This is the way the technology game works, guys. Take a deep breath and jump on the train. Welcome back. You know the best part about the modern digital camcorder? It's the quality. The quality is over twice as good as VHS tape. It's 500 lines of resolution for those of you counting at home. So what then is the difference between your footage and the footage of a professional TV cameraman? It's all in the technique. It's how you use the thing. So we had a little experiment.
We rounded up 2 amateurs and issued them the latest digital camcorders.
And sent them out into their lives to give us some sample footage. So let's meet them now. Melissa, what'd you do?
I went to a bridal shower.
Ah, common camcorder use. And Dan, may I have your camcorder, please?
I went to the botanical garden with my son, who's 3, and we got some great footage, I think.
Well, I'll be the judge of that. May I have the camcorder? Okay, and now the moment of truth. We'll start with Alyssa, which was shot at a bridal shower, evidently during an earthquake. All right, I think even the untrained eye would be able to tell us that this was not professionally shot. I think the primary problem here is that it wasn't shot on a tripod. The difference between amateur footage and professional footage very often is that the amateur footage is not steady. So I'm going to give you a few tips that will help separate your amateur footage from everybody else's. Now, before we begin, I know that a number of you observant people are saying, hey, but you're not on a tripod. That is true. This show is not shot on a tripod, but not just going nuts holding it in our hand. We're actually using a special hydraulic camera stabilizer here to make sure that what movements there are at least graceful and buoyed. So, in the absence of an actual tripod, which by the way would only cost you 20 bucks, here are some of Dave's faves, tips and tricks for getting steadier footage without a tripod. First of all, use the human tripod, a little thing I like to call your elbows. Hold the camera with 2 hands, put your elbows against your rib cage. This is extremely steady, especially in conjunction with that built-in image stabilizer. By a quirk of science, it turns out that the average table lamp has screw threads right here. By happy coincidence, they are exactly the same diameter as the screw threads of a camcorder tripod socket. And there you go, instant improvised tripod. Okay, let's go back to the bridal shower for a minute. Who doesn't love a good wedding? There's the bride. Okay, now look what's happening here. Alyssa had a problem with the lighting. Here's a person almost completely in silhouette because she's standing in front of a window. Lighting is something you need to be aware of when you're using a camcorder, especially in backlit scenes like that. This is just a cheesy little cable show, but look at all the lighting stuff we've got going on here. Look at this huge thing just made to simulate good lighting. Now look, this camera's gonna do the same thing to me. See how I'm too dark? It's because the camera's adjusting for all the brightness. Now we can correct the exposure. Can you do it? Can you fix me? Okay, so now I look normal. You don't have quite that much flexibility, but look at your camera. A lot of camcorders have a little something called the backlight button. If you push that button, the entire scene brightens. The background will be too white. It'll be like nuked out, but at least your subject will be properly exposed. You'll find a button like this usually on the more expensive camcorders. The cheap little $300 ones, you just need to be aware of when your subject is backlit. Our next tip is going to be brought to us by one of our guinea pig's sons. This is Leo, 3 years old.
And what about the performance? What?
We missed the performance.
You have to look into the
Okay,
camera.
he's making a very good point. We missed it, not the performance. We missed the kid's line because he was facing the other way. Now, the microphone on your camcorder is mounted on the front of the camera. It's got about a 10, 15-foot range at best. So the solution to this is very simple. You want to do what we do in professional television. You want to get one of these, and you want to get a professional sound man to hold it. That'll run you about $450 a day, and the microphone is about $1,000. Thank you very much. I'm just kidding. For $20 from Radio Shack, it's a tie clip microphone. One end goes right here on your subject. The other end plugs into your camcorder's microphone jack. You get perfect crystal clear sound recorded right onto the tape. My final tip of the day has to do with filming children and animals.
We asked people in Times Square what they like to shoot most.
I bought my first camcorder 10 years ago. I had a child and I wanted to catch on her moments on film.
We got a new puppy, so I really wanted a camcorder to kind of show him growing up.
My boyfriend's daughter, you know, her dancing, her playing with her kitchen or her toys.
Let's face it, if it weren't for kids and pets, there would be no camcorders in the world at all. But notice the camera angle. Dan is shooting down on his own kid.
Okay, are you gonna run?
All he's succeeding in doing is creating a memory of his own view. Consider this tip. When you're shooting children or pets, take the camcorder like this and go to the kid or the pet's level like this. Compare that bit of footage with footage of my own cute blonde-headed boy, filming him at child's eye view, so you get a memory of sort of his version of the memories of that day. And one more thing about children and pets, they never perform on cue. So tape is cheap, film a lot, let the camera roll. When it's all over, you can always go home and edit out the boring parts. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to show you when we come back.
I probably bought my first camcorder in the 80s. The one I have now is much smaller. It's got better film quality, it's got better sound quality.
I have a Mac at home and I can hook it up to iMovie and like do whatever with it, you know? It's a fun little toy.
It's so neat because you go places like New York and you can film all over and then you go home and go, ah, look at that, instead of just a still shot. I think everyone should own a camcorder. Yeah, they're great.
Now, years and years ago, like 2003, if you wanted to show your home movies, how would you do it? You'd root around, you'd find the cable that connects the camcorder to the TV, you'd get everybody to sit around, but it's all different in the age of YouTube and Google. Now you can take your movies and post them online where your audience isn't just a few people that can sit on the couch, but 1 billion people on the internet. Excuse me, want to see something really cool? Right here in this wireless hotspot, is this not the cutest baby you've ever seen?
Great, I don't really have time for this.
Not only can you post your videos on the web, but you can even charge for them. I kid you not, I got this email from one guy. He makes videos on how to put on horseshoes. I mean on horses. And strangely, Blockbuster would not stock his DVDs. But now he can charge for them on Google Video and actually make a living. All you gotta do is edit this stuff, trim it down so that only the good stuff remains. Let me show you how you do that. Luckily for you, anyone with a computer already has the necessary software. Every Macintosh comes with a program called iMovie. Every Windows PC comes with a program called Movie Maker. So here's the ingredients. You need your Mac or your PC, you need the camcorder with the tape you've shot, and you need this, a FireWire cable. One end of these fits right into the camcorder itself, and the other end plugs into the FireWire jack on your computer. This jack is built into every Macintosh, If you have a Windows PC, you may or may not have a FireWire jack on it. You can add one, if not, via a USB box or a little PC card. The next step is to put the camcorder in play mode, might say VCR mode. At this point, something weird and wonderful happens. The computer can now control the playback of the camcorder over the cable. Watch this. At this point, I can use these controls under the window to actually operate the camcorder. I can hit play. Every time I see a piece of footage that I want to work with, you click the import button in iMovie or the start capture button in Windows Movie Maker. That video is now arriving on the computer's hard drive, and I won't need it on the camcorder anymore. Now, the movie I intend to make today is a little film I like to call Extreme Baby. I don't know what my 2-year-old runs on, but it's not customary fuel. In any case, he does all kinds of funny, crazy, wild stuff, and I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious to edit all of these into a zany montage? Now let's take a look at this first clip. If I click play or hit the space bar, I'm going to see a lot of deadwood. I'm seeing my wife putting the baby on the zip line, arranging the wires, the kid standing by. He's slowly picking up acceleration. Now, this is exciting. What I'd like to do is to chop off the first half of that clip. I'm going to drag it inward.
In Movie Maker, it works exactly the same way.
Now if I let go of the mouse and I hit the space bar now, the action begins as the baby already has momentum. The beauty of software is that you can enhance these things and make them look a little more professional.
For example, you can add opening credits from Star Wars to ye old spinning headline style.
The next thing my little Extreme Baby masterpiece needs is some variation from shot to shot. Not just cut, 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 but maybe a little crossfade, maybe a little smoothness from one shot to the next. This time I'm going to click the Transitions button, and here's all kinds of different versions of crossfades. Circles, fade-ins, fade-outs, the old Meanwhile Back at the Ranch one, but what I like most of all is the plain old cross-dissolve.
Both iMovie and Movie Maker also offer a long list of canned special effects. You can make things speed up or slow down, play backward and forward. You can even add rain or fog. But be careful. The truth is, it's easy to go wild with all these crossfades and special effects, junking up your movie with gimmicks. You don't want to look like an amateur, do you?
Now, the last step before your movie is fully baked is adding a soundtrack to it. Music somehow tells your brain what emotion to feel, how to react, and it works just as well on home video as it does for the pros.
After the break, I'll show you my finished opus, so stick around. Welcome back, and now it's time to screen the finished movie masterpiece.
All right, so you have a video on your computer. Now what are you going to do with it? How are you going to bring it to your audience? Each of these programs has a menu filled with ways to export the video. In iMovie, you go to the Share menu.
In Movie Maker, it works exactly the same way.
I can send it to a DVD. Now, most people think that the DVD would be the ideal way to preserve the quality of your original footage. That's sort of true. It is very high quality. But believe it or not, the video on a video DVD is actually compressed. A better idea is to go to the Share menu and choose Video Camera. You'll hook up your FireWire cable to the camcorder again, and it will send your video back to tape with 100% of the pristine, beautiful, original quality. All of this transferring back and forth from camera to computer and computer back to the camera, you lose no quality. That's the beauty of digital video. As promised, I'm going to show you how to put that thing on YouTube where everybody can see it. It's really very simple. Step one, you go to the Share menu, you pick QuickTime, you choose Web, you click Share, you give it a name, and you hit Save. The computer is now crunching down all of that high-quality digital video into something much smaller, a file that's several megabytes big, but still small enough to upload and to be watched on the internet. This is where the fun of YouTube begins. You go to youtube.com. Here's a bunch of buttons across the top. I think the one I want is probably Upload. I click that. I'm asked for a name for my video. That would be Extreme Baby. I'll click Choose File, and sure enough, there's my Extreme Baby movie. I hit Upload Video, and off it goes to the great wide world of the web. And there you have it. From raw, unedited camera footage to finished masterpiece on the internet with a potential audience of 1 billion people, all in a few easy steps. If you missed any of the steps, don't worry, because I put them all online in a nice, easy, tidy tutorial at this address. But really, think about what you've just done. You've accomplished something that in the professional world would have taken $100,000 worth of equipment and a whole professional crew. The world has really changed just in the last year. The gatekeepers are gone. You don't need an agent, a production company, even a cable TV channel. All it takes now is your talent, and of course the tips and tricks I've provided for you today. And all I ask in return is the chance to watch 1 million amateur videos bloom. That and 10% of the gross. Okay, Jeffrey, this is a national TV show, Jeffrey. We don't do that, honey. That's a $100,000 camera. We don't do that, Jeffrey. We don't do that. Oh! No, honey. We don't eat the tree, honey. No, that's not good. No. Jeffrey, no, honey, that's a crime scene. No, don't go there. Jeffrey, no. Jeffrey, come on, Jeff.